Good morning, everybody. Today's event is actually an offline event, so no audience will participate in this event. And focus is solely on the recent announcement from NeoDynamics, how to solve the long-term financing issues. And they sent out a message the other day about intentions to carry out the rights issue of units for an initial amount of up to 72 million SEK gross. And the proceeds of this issue is going to commercialization and marketing activities in US and in Europe. And with me today, I have the CFO, Aaron Wong. Welcome, Aaron. And I know you brought with you a presentation, so please start the presentation.
Hi, Klaus. Thank you very much. Yes. So today I would like to talk through the rights issue and hopefully simplify a lot of the information that has been distributed into the market. So first, I'd like to start off with the why. NeoDynamics is very well positioned to commercialize our innovative pulse technology, both in Europe and in USA. And this follows on from a successful FDA approval, which very much gives us a clear pathway to commercialize in the US. For those that have been following NeoDynamics, they will know that we are 100% equity financed. And the next 12 months will be a very exciting time for the company as we push through the commercialization here in Europe and also continue to commercialize in the US during 2023. So in order to do that, we are looking to raise, as Klaus said, 72 million Swedish crowns, and that's gross, that's excluding transaction costs. And this will be primarily to use toward the US market. Approximately 50% of the user proceeds will be used in the commercialization. So now on to the what. And here I'd just like to explain in a little more detail the capital raise and how it is structured. So the capital raise will be in three parts. The first part will be the rights issue, which, as I've mentioned, will be hopefully up to 72 million Swedish crowns. And this is excluding transaction costs, and we expect to complete this in August of this year. Following on from the rights issue, we'll have the first warrant program, known as the TO2, and that is to raise up to 20 million Swedish crowns, excluding transaction costs, and that will be in November of this year. And then the final part of the capital raise will be the second warrant program, known as the TO3, and that will be raised up to 30 million, excluding transaction costs, in February 2024. And it should be noted that the three parts of this capital raise, the amounts that we will raise will be dependent on the subscription price, not subscription prices, the amount we are subscribed to. So firstly, the rights issue. And the rights issue is structured as something called a unit issue. So each share will give the participant the right but not the obligation to subscribe to one unit. Each unit consists of 6 shares, and these 6 shares are priced at the quota value of 0.10 crown per share. So in essence, that's 0.60 per unit. Each unit will also contain 2 of the TO2 warrants and 3 of the TO3 warrants. And these warrants will be issued free, as in subscription rights. And then obviously those who wish to participate will need to subscribe to the warrants, which will be priced at a corresponding 70% of what's known as the volume weighted share price of the company's share during the first subscription period, which is November 3rd, 2023 to the November 16th, 2023 for the TO2s, and February the 1st to February the 15th for the TO3s. However, the price cannot be less than the quota value, which is rounded up to 2 decimal places, and not more than the ceiling of 0.1 per share. So the when. And these are some key dates which will lead us into the transaction itself. And the first being the extraordinary general meeting, which we have planned for the 27th of July. And I would encourage all shareholders, if they have the ability, to attend. Otherwise, please do submit your proxy forms for your vote. If we move down, we can see that the publication of the prospectus is expected on the 31st of July, which coincides with the Q2 interim report date. And then shortly thereafter, on August the 2nd, the most important date is the start of the subscription period. So for those watching, please make a note of that. And that runs for the 2 weeks following. On August the 21st, we expect to have a publication of the outcome of the rights issue. And it should be noted that we have 80% of the issue secured through guarantee commitments. And with that, I would like to open it up for some questions from Klaus. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Aaron, for your presentation. And even though there's some technical details, you will find everything on the company's homepage. And I can mention that Aaron will be back to explain more about the issue when it's agreed upon in the EGM. So I think we decided on the 1st of August, Aaron, to explain more about the issue. But Aaron, my first question here is, why did you choose a rights issue over the other possibilities the company mentioned in their press release dated the 16th of February this year?
Yes. Well, firstly, the company is always looking for every opportunity to raise capital, and it should be noted that we always look to do what is right for our shareholders and what is best for our shareholders, which led us to the way that we will look to our home market here in Sweden to raise the next round of capital. We continually look for all different types of alternative ways to raise funding. And we chose this because we felt that given that we're moving into the commercialization in the US, we wanted to have all shareholders present and attending and giving them the opportunity to take part in it.
Thanks, Aaron. So as I understand you, you are still, of course, it's not like you're still looking for the other alternatives as well. This was just the best one for the current conditions. Yeah,
and I think that's a very good point, that the current conditions, for those that are kind of market savvy and listen in to what's happening, not just in Sweden, but globally, are very challenging. Which means that, and this kind of leads me on to the way that the transaction was structured. So having a quota value as the subscription price might seem low, but again, we wanted to give all shareholders the opportunity to participate. So we know that people's wallets are stretched with the kind of economic conditions that we see here, not in Sweden, but abroad. So it was really to have everybody participate and be on board right now for what will be a very exciting 12 months.
Thanks, Aaron. And if we assume that you succeed with the 72 million SEK gross, how far will this capital raise take you?
Yes. So the 72 million is part of the first part of the capital raise. We also have, not forgetting, the 2 warrant programs. So if we take the 3 parts, it's always certainly my intention to fund or find funding for the company for 12 months. And that is not only for the kind of commercial reasons, but also for more technical regulatory reasons of going concern. But it's my belief that an understanding that this capital raise will last us for 12 months, where we will be able to complement the money that we draw in with also sales in the later part of this year.
Thanks, Aaron. In your latest press release from the 22nd of June, you actually secured further loan facilities. You have earlier announced Grønningskost, one of your biggest shareholders, that he was providing a loan. These two new participants, do they carry the same conditions as Grønningskost? And could you please elaborate a little on that?
Yes, it's first of all, yes, they do carry the same conditions, and the reason why is that we treat all of our shareholders and investors the same. So it was important that we had consistency between all of the loan commitments that we had received. So yes, that's the answer to that. And on the loan structure, it is very much at market rate. So we very much appreciate the continued commitment from our largest shareholder, Grønningskost Holding, and his belief in the company, especially moving into what is quite an important phase this year.
Could you very shortly describe for the audience this new Danish fund, Formue Nord? What is that? Is that a VC fund, or could you elaborate a little on this?
Yes, Formue Nord is a Danish privately owned company, and they provide a variety of financial services. These include direct equity investments. They also include bridge loans, and they also include convertibles. And Formue Nord we've actually done transactions with them in the past, and they're fairly well known to the company. So we're very pleased that they can come on board now and support the company into the rights issue.
Thanks a lot. And then in the same announcement from the 22nd, and you mentioned that in your introduction as well, you already have like 80% guaranteed. Do existing shareholders guarantee this issue, and could you elaborate a little on that as well?
Yes. So the guarantors are a mixture of those existing shareholders and people that are, for example, providing bridge loans. But what I would say is that we have guarantee commitments from our largest shareholder and also our chairperson through their company Rentability, and that is commitments up to 19% of the 80% that is already guaranteed. So around 14 million.
Yeah, so that's 1/4 of the total guarantee issue guarantees.
Yes, and just kind of leading into that, the board and the management are also participating, and that's a quite important thing to stress, that we are all behind this. We're not just simply relying on our largest shareholders. You know, myself included. I'm taking my pro rata share. The management team is as well, and the executive team is as well, and the board. So we're all very much behind the capital raise, and we very much believe this is the big push that we need to get across the line commercially. That being said, I think that if I could just kind of expand into what we've raised so far, we're kind of at the finishing line, but it should be understood that when we go into the commercialization and we start to see black numbers, there will be probably a need to kind of combine our cash flow, organic cash flow, with investments next year. And that's why when I look at all different avenues, we very much welcome direct investments from people and companies that are not already part of the cap table. And that's something which we work. I would say that the rights issue right now is our primary focus. So alternatives are very much in the background, but certainly we welcome any form of investment, good investors and knowledgeable investors in our space. I think that's one thing that I can also stress is that there's perhaps been a disconnect between the expectations on the company and those knowledgeable in the market of how medical devices and life science companies work. The lead times are very long, and there are milestones that we are obviously achieving, but there are also incremental improvements in the product that we always try to include to best suit the patients and caregivers, and that's what we've seen this year. But now we very much feel that we're closing in on the final steps. So this is kind of like I say, I can't emphasize enough that this is a very critical and very, I believe, a very good time to be part of the story.
Yeah, interesting, Aaron. Yeah, for sure. And you by that also sent a signal that both the board, management, and more or less everybody very close to the company participate in this issue. And investors should be aware of that because, as you mentioned yourself, this is a very interesting time. You are building up in US, you are already in Europe. And we know from a lot of conventions that you do have a very good product. And
yeah,
take time.
And just on that, if I take a step back and about my own subscription commitment, I mean, I am, as the CFO, obviously there's a kind of a semi-obligation for me, but I do it because I believe in the company more so than it is my obligation to take part in it. Because I think that, I mean, for many reasons, if I didn't believe in what we were doing, A, I wouldn't be here, and B, I wouldn't be investing my own money in it. So I hope that to some extent gives the market some indication of the employees' commitment to the company, not only from a cash perspective, but also the time and the application of their knowledge in the company. Everybody's working extremely hard to get this done, and it's not an easy thing to do, compounded by the external environment, to say the least.
No, for sure, and you're entering a very difficult market, the US. It's really interesting, but well, it's also a challenge, and you actually managed to build a quite skilled organization already in US. Just very briefly, Aaron, how will your burn rate looks like if we relate it to the strategy you outlined in the recent press release?
Yeah,
because it will probably change a little. You know more about US today than you did 6 months ago, and Europe is also still pretty much alive.
Very much so. We're certainly not forgetting our European market. What I would say about our burn rate is that we have everybody on board that we need. So I don't expect any significant changes in our burn rate from what we've seen. We had some one-time costs in Q1. We have some one-time costs that we might see, later on in the year. It's unknown right now, but the underlying burn rate will remain fairly constant. I would also add that I wouldn't expect to see any uptick in burn rate until we see a breakthrough in sales and the commercialization, at which point we then reevaluate the resources we have and if necessary, continue to invest in the company. And we need to be mindful of the burn rate. We don't have endless supplies of cash, and this capital raise will give us, as I said, enough for 12 months in combination with sales of our own. So cost control is always at the top of my mind, and I'm always advocating for only commercializing as fast as we can afford to do so.
Good, Aaron. And then I have a final question here. Any news on the commercialization in US? Could you share some thoughts and ideas what is going on over there for the moment? We are 6 months into the year.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And we started the commercialization at the beginning of the year, and with that we started onboarding key account managers. We onboarded Brendan Carney to lead the sales team. Matt Colpoys has obviously been kind of working in a hybrid role as the CEO, but also in the sales position. We've also onboarded 2 more CAMs. So now we have a strong team of 3 CAMs that covers geographically, to the best of their ability, the entire US. It doesn't sound like a lot, but what we've said and what we will do is work quite narrow and quite deep with the reference centers that we've chosen. And I've elaborated that those include some of the largest cancer centers in the US, if not globally. And we've made some good connections with those healthcare centers. We have been introducing the product there, and the feedback we've received is, wow, we've not seen any development in our area for the last 20 or 30 years. So this is really something that they are very interested in. And it's kind of the sentiment that we've seen generally in the US, is that they are more open to new technologies, new ways of doing things. They're more, they like to see innovative technology brought into their space that can help them do their job. And Europe, and that goes with the kind of way that the reimbursement structure is set in the US. There's more scope to do different things with the kind of tools that are available in the market. So ours coming into the market at this point is very interesting. And in Europe, as I've kind of talked a little bit about before, is very much cost containment, but is really where the story began. And the discussion between.
Oh, your sound disappeared.
Sorry, where did I leave off? I think what I was saying is that the discussion between the key opinion leaders in the US and Europe continues and will continue. And the strong results that we've seen from our clinical studies are really to support the story that we are moving into the US.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. Really great presentation. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is an offline event. We will be back with Aaron and hopefully CEO Anna Eriksrud later on this summer. Our plan is to be here the 1st of August. We will let you know, of course, when and at what time of day. But hopefully you enjoyed this presentation. And I know that Aaron and the team look forward to your subscriptions. So that's it. Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Thank you, Klaus.